Why drop $70,000 to $90,000 on a Hellcat when you can have Hellcat power for less than half the price? For under 15 grand in upgrades, you can transform this unassuming sedan into a 700 horsepower street destroyer that will humble just about anything you line up against. Let's start with the foundation. You don't need a brand new Dodge with a giant price tag, and you definitely don't need to take out a loan for it. What you need is a 2005 to 2010 Chrysler 300C SRT8. First glance, it looks like something your grandma would drive. Big chrome grille, leather seats, and that mafia boss stance. But don't let the exterior fool you. Under the hood sits Chrysler's legendary 6.1-liter HEMI V8. From the factory, it puts out 425 horsepower and 425 pound-feet of torque, which was impressive for the mid-2000s. But the truth? That motor has way more to give. Chrysler just left it on the table. Here's the best part. These cars have depreciated hard. You can scoop one up today for under $15,000, clean and ready to build. That's why this platform is perfect. You're starting with a luxury sedan that has the comfort, the looks, and the muscle car heritage. And with the right mods, you'll have a car that runs with modern Hellcats, ZL1 Camaros, and even European exotics. All right, let's dive into the build. The easiest and most effective way to wake up the 6.1 HEMI is simple. Slap a blower on it. A complete supercharger kit bolts right onto the factory engine with no need to crack it open. For around 7 grand, you get everything. The head unit, intercooler, brackets, piping, and belt system. It's a straight bolt-on recipe for massive power, and it completely changes the car overnight. With boost, that once sleepy sedan becomes an animal. Depending on pulley size and tune, you're looking at 600 to 700 horsepower at the crank, squarely in Hellcat territory. But the real magic is how the power hits. The supercharger delivers instant torque, slamming you back into the seat the second you breathe on the throttle. Add in the intoxicating whine of the blower paired with the HEMI's deep roar, and you've turned a luxury cruiser into a full-blown street brawler. To get the most out of your setup, you'll want to help the HEMI breathe better and stay cool. That's where a high-flow intake comes in, feeding the supercharged 6.1 with all the fresh air it can handle for about $350. On the other end of the system, long tube headers and a free-flowing performance exhaust let the engine exhale without restriction, and you can get a whole system for about 1 grand. The difference isn't just in horsepower, it's in personality. Suddenly, the muted, understated cruiser transforms into a snarling muscle monster, its exhaust note announcing with authority that this is no ordinary Chrysler. But airflow is only half the battle. Heat management is just as important. Boost creates heat, and heat kills power. An upgraded heat exchanger for the supercharger system keeps intake temps low for about $300, preventing heat soak and keeping your pulse consistent. It's basically horsepower insurance. Every run feels as strong as the first, letting you use all that power whenever you want. Now, the 6.1 is already a stout, reliable motor, but once you start cranking up the boost, you're flirting with its limits. For a safe and dependable setup in the 600 to 650 horsepower range, the stock bottom end can usually handle the stress just fine. But let's be honest, most enthusiasts aren't satisfied with good enough. That's where forged pistons and rods come in. These aren't just upgrades, they're an insurance policy that transforms your engine from strong to virtually indestructible. With forged internals, you've got a foundation capable of handling 800, 900, even over 1,000 horsepower if you ever decide to push further, all without losing sleep over catastrophic engine failure. Of course, raw power isn't worth much if your engine can't feed itself. At higher boost levels, upgraded fuel injectors and a higher flow fuel pump are critical. They ensure your air-fuel mixture stays safe and consistent, preventing lean conditions that can instantly destroy an engine. Skimp here, and all that hard-earned power could turn into a costly nightmare. Do it right, and you've got a bulletproof, reliable bottom end with fueling to match. A motor that can take abuse day in and day out and still roar like a beast when you hit the gas. Bolting on a blower and installing all the supporting parts is only half the battle. The real magic happens in the tune. Without it, you're basically leaving power on the table and gambling with your engine's health. A proper dyno tune, expect to spend around $800, is what ties everything together. The tuner dials in fueling, timing, and boost to match your exact setup, ensuring the engine runs smooth, strong, and safe. The difference is night and day. Instead of a car that feels raw and unpredictable, you get a machine that delivers all its horsepower in a controlled, consistent way. Cold starts are clean, throttle response is razor sharp, and every pull feels intentional instead of chaotic. With the right tune, you're not just maximizing power, you're building reliability and drivability into the setup, making it something you can thrash on the weekends and still daily drive with confidence. For under 15 grand in mods, you've taken a $15,000 $100,000 used Chrysler 300C SRT8 and turned it into a full-blown supercar killer. Think about that. 700 horsepower in a car that, from the outside, looks like a leather-lined living room on wheels. To most people, it's just another big American sedan, but you know what's hiding under the hood. So what's it like to drive? Pure chaos in the best possible way. Mash the throttle, and the instant wall of torque slams you back into the seat like a roller coaster launching off the line. The speedometer climbs so fast it feels broken, and before you know it, you're blowing past cars that cost 3, 4, even 5 times as much. 0 to 60, mid 3-second range. Quarter mile, low 11s, maybe even dipping into the 10s with the right setup. And you're doing all of this while sitting in a quiet, comfortable sedan with heated seats and a trunk big enough for a Costco run. That's the beauty of this build. It's the definition of a sleeper. Park it next to a Ferrari or a Porsche, and most people will smirk at the Chrysler badge. But when the light turns green, you're the one grinning in the rear view as that 6-figure exotic fades into the distance. One of the biggest advantages of the 300C SRT8 build is that it's not just fast, it's practical. Unlike a stripped-down track car or a temperamental exotic, this Chrysler is still a daily driver at heart. The ride is smooth and composed, the seats are comfortable, and you've got all the luxury features you'd expect. Leather, climate control, heated seats, and a trunk big enough for groceries or a weekend trip. You're not sacrificing comfort for speed, you're getting both. Reliability is another huge factor. The 6.1 HEMI is a bulletproof engine when treated properly, and with the forced induction setup done right, proper tuning, upgraded cooling, and reinforced fueling, the car can handle repeated hard pulls without breaking a sweat. Routine maintenance is straightforward and affordable, and parts are plentiful, widespread use in other Mopar performance models. In short, this build doesn't just make insane power. It's a streetable, drivable, and surprisingly low-stress machine that can keep up with your daily life while secretly terrorizing everything else on the road. The cost-to-performance ratio here is almost impossible to beat. For around 30 grand total, the price of a decent used SUV or a brand new economy car, you're running side by side with machines that cost 6 figures. We're talking Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and McLarens, all embarrassed by a Chrysler that most people wouldn't even glance at twice in a parking lot. That's the beauty of it. This isn't a flashy Hellcat that screams "race me" everywhere it goes. It's understated, almost invisible until you put your foot down. And when you do, the results are devastating. You've got all the comfort and space of a big-body luxury sedan, but hiding underneath is raw American muscle with supercar crushing power. It's fast enough to scare you, reliable enough to daily, and stealthy enough that nobody will see it coming until it's already too late. So if you want Hellcat performance without Hellcat money, the Chrysler 300C SRT8 Supercharger build might just be the ultimate budget sleeper on the street. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next video. Got a car you want to see me do a video on? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.